see what's going on here. Here's my studio. Yeah, old Red, he's a beer donation. I kind of did drink it. The Upchuck ciders, you know. I just don't. I know they got more alcohol. I'd looked in, you know, Natty Lights. I know where, because I know. I guess Bush must genetically engineer these products so that makes other beers taste like shit for some reason. So it's just a standby, the steady, you know, rock that keeps me rolling in this whole thing. Yeah, I don't know, Red might not make anything this whole Halloween. I've been pressuring him. I've been sending him emails. But he said that he got wasted on Wednesday night or something and drank like some god-awful amount of hard ciders, all that stuff that's in his video. So he's out. He said he's recovering from a 2-day hangover. So then what? So yeah, that, and let's see. I'm going to go do I guess like a Halloween art fair over in this coffee shop they're hosting around noon. I think I'm going to take my camera and take it on a little voyage over there. It's Halloween, it's great weather.
Ice cream would be good. I don't think I have any, but these girls sure do. Sunday, you know, they got strawberry, vanilla, all there. First bite, and this girl's like, bitch.
Happy post-Halloween. Well, I was gonna make. I had about a whole bunch of videos I was gonna produce, one every day, Saturday. And Saturday, I am going and doing this minor coffee art shop fair, and then just went out on the town and looked at a bunch of bands.
Bunch of weirdo freaks.
That I thought, well, fuck it, you know. I got so damn. I went out and I had someone started buying me a bunch of beer called Golden Monkey. I don't know if you ever try. I like the taste of that beer. It tastes really good. But 2 or 3 of them, and about 3 more. I was blown out all Sunday. I couldn't even get out of bed. I just laid around and was a bomb. That Halloween came. I didn't even feel like going out then. And, you know, I know I give Fred a hard time about, you know, his art and career, and he doesn't really go out much. He's right about one thing. He does stay home, and he doesn't really go to art shows like I do, or go out to fancy wine and cheese art events, or been around. I tell him that he'd have to watch out, because, you know, sometimes it's not all good to leave. You know, sometimes it's just good to stay. You don't want to leave. You really don't want to leave your computer room. It's an evil, wicked art world out there. Let me tell you what will happen to you if you try to leave your computer room, Red. See, you'll find yourself in some kind of art opening somewhere, talking to somebody. Some lady will come up to you and she'll recognize who you are and say, "Oh, I know who you are. You're Stephen Chandler, the Red Mud Painter from Georgia." And she'll say something like, "I got this really big collection of folk art," you know, and then she'll invite you over after the opening. And you'll go back to her house and see what. Because she'll be talking about all the Mose Tollivers and Jimmy Lee Southers she has, and all the. She even has a Bill Trailer, some Howard Finsters, you know, and it's rattle on this giant laundry list of folk artists a mile long. And she'll probably have like an ex-husband, you know, that left or is deceased, and she'll be sitting there showing you all of her folk art collection, you know, and talking about how she's part of the, you know, museum committee of some folk art collection in some lowly nowhere town in the south, or maybe up in the northwest, you know, and that she knows all these board members, and that she's friends with Judy Saslow, or, you know, some big New Orleans artist gallery or something like that, you know. She'll be name popping, dropping all over you, you know. But that's what probably happen if you leave your house, you know. So you'd be sitting there in her living room drinking a bottle of wine with her, you know, and then you'll realize that, you know, she starts telling you things. She'll start saying things to you like, "I need a red mud painting in my collection of folk art. And I've seen how you've been developing, you know, this art, you know, and I think it's time to start, you know, getting into it. You know, and then you'll realize that, you know, she starts telling you things. She'll start saying things to you like, "I need a red mud painting in my collection of folk art. And I've seen how you've been developing, You know, and you'll be playing along with it like you never heard of who, you know, Basquiat or Warhol or Salvador Dali is. You'll be like, I'm just some old lonely. I just make my Georgia Redmud paintings in my room, and I don't know nothing, you know, and I just try to get what little table scraps I can get for them. And she'll go, well, I'm here to help you out. That's where it starts right there. It starts like that. So then, before you know it, you'll be sitting there in her living room, and she'll sit down next to you. And she'll be telling you about her first discoveries of folk art. It'll be some really interesting stories. And that's so sweet, you know, because you'll be thinking like, well, I need to ante up the bracket here. You know, I've been on eBay for a while, and I've sold some work for some good money, you know, people seeing it. But then you think, you know, there's always this other layer of rich folks out there. You know, they're willing to buy your stuff, but you just don't know how to get to them. And here's this lady here. You be taking a couple of swigs of that wine, you know. She may start bringing out some cognac or a neat little mixed drink, a little southern mix, julep deal or whatever, you know. And she'll be talking to you about the stuff, you know. And it's always the same kind of folk art collectors. They're always, you know, late 50s, you know, ex-hippie, kind of heavy-set kind of women that love to coddle and get to know a young budding good-looking folk artist like yourself, you know, and they understand the troubles and turmoils you go through as a folk artist. They always know about that, you know. And she'll be sitting there talking to you, and she'll come and sit down right next to your lap, and then she'll be saying things like, you know, I sure could use a red mud painting in my collection. How much you willing to part for one? And you'll be sitting there thinking about it. He goes, well, I'll be willing to sell you one. And she tells you, well, how about $1,000? You'll be going, hell yeah, $1,000, and that will be in something like the Birmingham, you know, Missy Lala's collection of folk art, or something like the Savannah, Georgia Community Center of Folk Art Collections by yada yada, you know. That's how it all starts. Well, then she'll be sitting there next to you, and she'll put her hand on your knee, and she'll whisper something like, hey, I like to play giddy up. And you'll be going like, what do you mean giddy up? And she goes, and then her hand will get closer and closer to your pee-pee. And then you're going to get really worried and go, I don't know about this. I know what's going on here, you know. You'll be looking it over. You'll be, you know, after the wine buzz sets in and you just get relaxed, you're thinking, I'm going to take one for the team. Why not, you know? And then as she stands up and then as you grasp the whole volume of her, you know, at least all 300 pounds of this woman, she stands up and says, I want to ride the pony. And then you're going to realize what the art world's really about, buddy. And then you're going to realize that, am I going to ride the pony? Am I going to let her ride the pony? And you said, well, it's going to be for folk art. See, that's what's going to happen, Red. I can see a scenario like this. That's why you should never leave your computer room. Don't ever go. Don't ever leave your room. Because it's always out there. There's always a saddle up and ride a young, you know, jubilant buck like yourself. You know, it's not any fun. Because then after you do this, after you do take one, you hit one for the team, you know, for the extra sale or the extra get that in that collection. You just become the folk art bitch. And then that's all of a sudden, it's going to be downhill. Maybe your name will get passed around from each folk art collector to the next, each divorcee, you know, mid-50-year-old women. You know, they know that you're ambitious and lovely and sweet and dainty. And before you know it, you'll be shuttling around from like New Orleans to Birmingham to Atlanta. Every dealer, every woman will be saying like, I want to have a piece of that red mud. I want some red mud. You see, that's what it comes down to. That's what them sales are about. They just passing them dudes around like that, you know. And you'll be like, she'll say, hey, I want to have at least 5 red muds in my house. Why don't you come over here for the weekend? And you're thinking, whoa, 5 red muds, well, that's going to be at least $1,500 a whop. And she goes, oh, that's cool with me. I'm all right. I'm living off my husband's life insurance is what she'll tell you. You know, he died about 5 years ago. And I'm awfully lonely, and I love to collect folk art. That's what's going to start right there, Red. And are you going to be able to stop that? You're going to be able to put the brakes down on something like that? You just don't want to leave your room. Don't leave your house. Stay home, because it's not a pretty world out there for folk artists. Ain't no different than the rest of the world.